to the workbench. Tonight I am going to kind of give an introduction to this project. This is an O-scale WHITCOMB 35-ton diesel electric locomotive that was manufactured by WHITCOMB, I think, in the 40s and the 50s. Wasn't really used by mainline railroads, but was heavily used by industrial lines and industries. It's a pretty strong locomotive to shuffle cars around. I got interested in this project. This is, by the way, this is O scale, but this project would apply to O scale and Proto 48. You could build this locomotive in either configuration. So we're steel mill modelers, HO steel mill modelers for years, and a fellow, I believe he's Belgium, although he could be Dutch. His name's Floris, I think Diltz, Diltz. I'm going to put his name on the screen. He's an outstanding model railroader, and his work was just featured in the I think it's called the Narrow Gauge and Industrial Review. It's a British publication that's kind of sort of comparable to the Narrow Gauge Gazette in the U.S. here, but I think it's a much better publication. The level of modeling is incredible in it. And his was the cover story, so that'll tell you something about the level of his work. He designs things and very generously posts them on Thingiverse, 3D files for anybody to print out. He's done a number of hot metal cars and some diesels and some other things. Again, all free, HO scale, and they're very highly detailed, very nicely made. Most of them, though, are European prototypes. So for your American modelers, you're going to have to either modify them or, try to create some creative explanation why an American railroad has a European prototype. However, when he did this WHITCOMB, these WHITCOMBs were left by the Army after World War II, I believe, in Europe. So a lot of these WHITCOMBs that the Army had brought over for the war effort ended up in mills, steel mills and coal mines, wherever in Europe, and they were the WHITCOMBs. Now, they were, of course, modified. They could have been exported too. I'm not sure. They might have been exported too, but that's one story that I heard. They were Europeanized. They had the buffers on the pilots. And the bearings looked a little different, maybe, what have you. But he actually did a Americanized version of this. He did a few European versions of this model, and then he did an American version of it that matches a U.S. Steel, kind of a U.S. Steel version that was used by U.S. Steel, and I think their Fairless Works in Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. Again, it's an HO scale thing, and it was designed to fit on the Bachmann, the first generation HO scale Bachmann 44-tonner. Each truck had an individual motor in it, so each truck could work as a standalone unit, and it was designed to fit over a single Bachmann truck. So you could actually print out these things in HO scale, very low cost for the resin, and then drop them on an old Bachmann 44-tonner, which the 44-tonners are kind of pariahs, so nobody buys them, and you can find them at train shows for like $20 or something. And you have two little HO switchers. Now, turning them into DCC, that's another story, and that's something that I'm actually kind of working on in the future. Kind of haven't worked out how I'm going to do it, but we'll see. But for this, I also model O scale. And Proto 48 is my home layout. I'm starting as a Proto 48 layout. I'm in an O scale club, so I wanted to build an O scale version again, but I wanted it to be adaptable to Proto 48. So again, the shell is free for printing, and you need to scale it up to O scale, which if you have a 3D printer and you have a slicer, slicing software for that, you should know how to scale it up. Now, don't forget though, if you scale it up from HO to O scale, if you scale it up to Proto 48, you're cool. If you slice it up to regular O scale, you're going to have a problem because the wheel spacing is different. It's not to scale. So you're taking a scale model and you're scaling it up, and it's not going to work out for the wheel sets if you use some kind of like these wheel sets are Intermountain O-scale wheel sets. They won't fit in. So you're going to actually have to fiddle around a little bit and adjust kind of the width of the locomotive, just tweak it a little bit. It shouldn't affect like the scale visually, and it's only for the bottom of the locomotive you need to do this to, and the frame or whatever you're calling that, and you can get it to fit, you know, regular O scale or O scale 5 or OW5, because O scale is really 5-foot gauge, not 4.8.5. So it's you know, again, that's why some people do Proto 48, some people don't care. It's you know, I'll teach your own. But so the issue with this though is, you know, HO scale, it's easy to put a motor in this thing. It's designed for a specific motor that's available and fairly inexpensive. Now O scale, I'm looking at an entirely different problem, because I'm going to need to design the entire drive system for this, and I'm going to have to design it from scratch. I do have some Stanton trucks I got for a project years ago. They're nice trucks. They work well if you weight them. The Northwest Shortline Stanton trucks, very expensive. I think they're about $100 a piece. But the problem is the wheelbase. I forget what in O scale. This scales out to be roughly 6 foot wheelbase, and you can't get Stanton trucks in 6 feet. I think 7.5 feet might be the shortest wheelbase, or maybe 7 feet. So you have to design the powertrain for this thing. So you're going to see how I did that, and that's part of the reason why this project took me a year and a half, was because I designed a powertrain. Didn't put a lot of effort into it. Well, I did put effort into it, but I didn't know what I was doing. And it worked. The train ran, the train pulled cars, but I wasn't very confident in it, and it was a little janky. So I kind of set it off to the side, which is sometimes a good thing to do when you're building doing a train project. You're kind of, doing something you've never done before. Is just take some time and think about it. Do some research on the internet. Talk to people, and something will come up. And something did come up. I saw something on the Proto 48 Yahoo group by Jay Criswell. Had posted about using these small motors, the same ones I'm using for the bridge project, the N20s. And he built a truck out of it for a diesel. And then I started thinking, wow, like I could use them in this model. So I'll show you how I did that, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a two-part video with the construction, but basically I, again, 3D printed somebody else's design for the body. I designed a bunch of parts for myself, so the pipe fittings for the pipe rail, like door handles, the windshield wipers. I designed a whole bunch of little parts. This tank, which is on the prototype, I think it's a supplemental air tank. I'm not sure what it does, or if anybody knows, let me know. So little odds and ends I added on. I can't remember some other things here too. I'm missing the stanchions for the base of the pipe rails. Again, some of the drive system was also 3D printed, but A lot of the other parts you see, the details come with, like, the 3D files are all online, and you have like the muffler, the horns, the lights, and they come with it. He puts in, there's multiple files for different versions of these, which is really cool. Different headlights, different horns, different exhaust systems. Actually, two different cabs. Two different cabs. I can't remember if there's different hood. There's different, the radiator grill, which is beautiful. You can actually, the WHITCOMB that's how they did it. You can see the WHITCOMB name spelled out. There's a different version of the radiator grill for a different prototype version that WHITCOMB made. Oh, there's two different versions of the frame here with different pilots on it. Different versions of the steps too. So the steps, some of them had a closed top, some of them were open. So I, did the opens top. So awesome resource. And again, you're going to need to know how to use a slicer. You're going to need to know how to scale on a slicer. I might just do a short video sometime in the future on how to do that, go from HO to O scale, or to Pro to 48. But again, this model will be operated and could be operated in either. Now, the cool thing about this locomotive is, because the first motorized version I built, I had pickups on the wheels. And it's such a short wheelbase, and we have frogs that are longer than this at the club, number 8 frogs, and some of them may or may not be powered. They should all be powered, but I think some of them are dead. So this thing's not going to run well in that kind of environment. So I kind of came to the conclusion that to get this thing to work really, really well, I'm going to need to somehow fit batteries in it. So this is a dead rail, O-scale, WHITCOMB, 2-axle locomotive with sound, batteries, and lights. There's the bottom. You can see the motors. Again, very sort of primitive, but very effective. There's the 2 speakers, couplers. This is the charger. This locomotive is charged by plugging in a USB. So I've actually charged this on the way to Train Club by plugging the USB in my truck. On-off switch. So I'll turn it on. I'm not sure it's got a charge on it. There you go. You can hear the diesel starting. So this is actually, I would work it right now, but I can't because I'm filming with the phone. But it's controlled by an app on the phone and a Bluenami decoder in here, made by the same people that make Tsunami. It's just a Bluenami, and this will literally run anywhere. It'll run on the workbench here. It'll run on the floor. It'll run on track that has no power to it. My Proto 48 layout, which is right above me, as I sit here, it's literally the phone is sitting on the benchwork of it to film. That is going to be all 100% battery. After I built this, I decided that's the way to go. Battery powered. You can super detail the track. You don't have to worry about having those bright shiny rails all the time. This was sort of just a quick intro. Not quick, I rambled on again, but a intro to the this project, and it'll only be 2-part video. I'll show you in a series of photos, and I don't really have videos of me building it. I'll show you a series of photos in the next video how I made this, how I built this, and how I the drive system kind of developed over time. Oh, this also is fully lit, so I have headlights, rear light, and a really cool flashing light on the roof, just like the prototype. So stay tuned to the next video if you want to see how this is built. I believe anybody could build it. There's